the season, what can you tell us?
Well, here's what's nice. So my starting point is always a reverse Flash, correct? And so the Flash needs an antagonist, and on Superman you're always going to find a way to get to Lex Luthor, and so we're sort of in that same situation where I'm the reverse Flash, he's the Flash, and there's going to be a way to get to reverse Flash, but you can't do that every season or every episode, right? And so in the meantime, we've got this one guy, Wells, and then from that Earth, that guy Wells, and then that guy Wells, and that guy Wells, and that guy Wells. There's lots of Wells. And on our show, I try and find something that we might have there's a line in the movie Rocky, you got gaps, I got gaps, together we fill gaps. Cisco's so winning, Caitlin's so winning, Barry is so winning, Joe is so winning, they're all so winning, and so on season 2 it's like maybe if we had a jackass, who has no social skills, and is abrasive, and then that was Harry, and then in season 3 we had a lot of darker, storylines, like maybe we had a little more humor, that was HR, and so this year, we've got a different villain, and so I think there's going to be areas that we could use a different Wells. We're going to start with Harry and then find a way, I think, to try and get a different version of Wells, in there, be it like some version of Harry or whatnot, as the season's gaps present themselves. That was kind of well said, I think.
Well said.
Turns the camera around. Well said. Credit to you and back. Yeah.
Sort of jumping off that idea, we never really get to meet the original Wells. Only except for in that one scene with his.
Here's what's interesting, because so when I was like, okay, Harry's going to be, HR's going to be a bit of a con man. I fashioned the drumsticks idea because we wanted to have this tableau at the end. I was like, oh, that was really good. And then when considering not just this season, but it looks like the Flash, I heard contractually is going to run for the next 27 years. So there's room to see what you can do with it, and that seems like an obvious one. But then I think it paints the writers into a corner a little bit, because first off, he's dead. He did, and well, exactly right. But then it's sort of like the best part of that story we've sort of told, and there is a bit of a timeline with it that doesn't necessarily fit all the other, there's a lot of machinations, a lot of tumblers, and it's like, okay, we got Vibe, we got progression with Caitlin, we got all this kind of stuff, and that does take on in this Earth a little bit of a timeline, and maybe that thing confuses, although, yeah, you're like, it's definitely got to be on the table. We've introduced Tess, we've introduced Harrison, and so I think the writer's like, yeah, we have that, and that's over here on this 3x5 writing card, and we're not quite sure when we'll introduce it. But yeah, for me, the thing I like the most is like the producers and writers have created this organic reasoning behind that person comes from this Earth and this Earth, and it makes sense. Nobody would be shocked if a portal opened and Wells came through and he was like, well, how are you? It's nice to see you. It's been a long time. And everyone's like, oh, we've never met. Oh, that's what you think. Right? I mean, I just wrote one scene of it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's nice to be able to do that, and it makes sense. Good? You good? I'll leave.
No, you're throwing at me, and I'm like.
It's fascinating watching, especially when there's two worlds interacting, because it is such a distinct performance. So congratulations on that.
You know who that's hard for? The wardrobe department. Right. Like, who? What's he wearing now? Where's the camera on?
But what kind of preparation do you go through before playing each individual Wells?
It's really a joy. I'll tell you that. I think there's a couple of things about this show that has provided. There's only a small number of actors that can really check the superhero suit box. I feel like it's a real privilege at my age to be like, what? You gotta put on a suit, and then another thing was like that idea where you're two people in the same scene, it's Shakespearean. There's rife. The theater is rife with the examples of you're talking to you, or Viola is so and so. It's like there's. Do you know what I mean? And so to have that opportunity where they have the bells and whistles that have figured it out, and you get to do it. And this is like self-serving, but my idea that HR thought Harry was unbelievably cool, and HR thought, and Harry thought HR was an idiot. And to have those two guys like, you're awesome, man, shut up. Like that dynamic, I just love that dynamic, And so those were like for me, like some of the most, joyous moments of the 4 years of being in the Flash.
Is there anything you can hit about your character going forward? Besides, like Harry?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of like I don't think I can. I mean, there is stuff that's involved with the season that we're talking about how Wells might become a different version of Wells, but I think that's a storyline too far for me to give up. But you'll see it.